I Want to Know What Love Is was the #1 song in the US in the 80s for several weeks. At the same time, it was the #1 song in the UK. It's one of the most popular songs ever written. We've all heard it. We all know it. It's been redone by more singers than I can tell you, but in 2009, it was redone by Mariah Carey, at which time it became the #1 song on the planet, and at that time it became the #1 song in South America for 36 weeks straight, making it the #1 song in the #1 chart in history. So what in the world is it about that song that resonates with our soul? Well, isn't it obvious? We want to know what love is. We want to know what love is. And we're not going to stop till we figure it out. It's more than we want to know. It's kind of what we're doing here. It's kind of a must. It's part of the deal. It's what we signed up for. There's many ways that we can describe what it is we're doing here as spiritual beings having a human experience, but one of the most clear and succinct ways of simply describing it is to say we are here to figure out what love is, to be it, become it, behold it, embrace it, shine it, spread it. Now, you would never imagine how much love a soccer ball can create in your life. And as you practice it, you get really good at it. You see, you put practice in and you get good at it. Now, you could never imagine how much love a soccer ball or any little thing, there's no such thing as a small act of love. It doesn't exist. Because once you move with love, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It takes on a life of its own. And so this all started when we went on our mission to Africa last year. So one day, all the kids were checked out of the hospital, which that's the only time it's ever happened in my experience. Everybody was checked out, so things got quiet. At like 3 o'clock, and so I went and I picked up a soccer ball, and I held it in my hands, and I just thought to myself, how much love could I spread today with a soccer ball? All the kids are gone, but there's got to be something I can do. So I held that in my hands, and it inspired me to go talk to the head nurse of St. Anne's Church in Zimbabwe, Africa. And her name is Gogo, which means great mother in Shona. Gogo. And it not only is it perfect for her in the African meaning, because she is the great mother, the great father, the great energy. She is just love personified, but it also is perfect in English, because she's on the go-go. She just goes. And in fact, she's one of my great inspirations. And one day, I came up to her and I said, Gogo, I said, what is it? How do you stay on the go, girl? She shows up every day in the hospital and she gets everyone singing and dancing up on their feet before it starts, just going, go. And I said to her one day, I said, what is it? You live in a country that's so full of oppression. I said the water comes and goes, the electricity comes and goes, the monetary system is gone. They don't pay you anything to work here, pretty much. You get no benefits. How do you keep on the go, girl? Go. And she's one of my great inspirations. And inspiration literally means to be touched by the divine. And when I'm with her, I feel touched by the divine. So when I said this to her, referring to the fact that she hardly gets paid anything and no benefits and all that, referring to that, when I asked her this question, she said this to me. She said, I say to them, you don't pay me enough. You give me no benefits, but I don't care. Because I don't work for you. I work for God. And every day, when I wake up, I say, God, what could you do? What could I do for you today, God? Not my will, but thy will be done, God. And then everything is good, and I am happy. And when she said that, it was like, the paddles on my chest, wake up. Because I've heard all that before. I've heard this stuff over and over again. But from her, it was not platitudes or parroting. For her, it was practice. But when you and I can begin to turn over our lives and make love and get up every day with that kind of, and recognize I don't work for anybody else but God or love, or however you want to say it. That's all that matters. Bang, everything will change. Not only would our personal lives be full of purpose and meaning, but the world would transform. The world would change. Thy will would be done through us, as us. I want you to think just for a quick second about the person or the entity that you feel have thought in the past that you work for. Just think about it for a second. And now say with me, I don't work for you. Together, I don't work for you. I work for God. I work for God. I work for love. I work for love. Isn't that different? How does that shift everything? All of a sudden, it's like life takes on meaning and purpose and power. Surely I digress. So I came to Gogo and I said, how much love can I spread with a soccer ball today? And she said, and I held it out to her. I said, I want to love more. That's what I want to do with this ball. What can I do? And she said, love more. I said, yeah, I want to love more. Love, that's what what can I do with this ball? Just tell me, is there something I could do? The kids are all gone. I just want to spread more love. She said, love more. Correct. That's what I would like to do. That's what I'm saying here. Go. Knock, knock. Anybody home would like to love more? She said, love more is what you are here to do, but there's a place called Love More. You take it to Love More and you will love more. I said, there's a place called Love More? Yes, there's a place called Love More. Take it to Love More, you will love more. So she gave me the address, and I came to my son CJ, and I said, CJ, I said, pump up another ball, we're going to Love More. Now, if I had known how literal that statement was in that moment, I would not have believed it. Not for a second. If you would have told me that a soccer ball that came from Jeannie Garst with generosity and love would lead me to what I was about to experience, I would have said to you, no way, no how. So there we go. We got in a cab. We gave him the address. We got lost for a long time. Then we finally found this house, this home called Love More. A homeless, it's a house, a school for homeless children where we're being taken in. And we pull up and get out of the cab, and we're walking up, and it's about a quarter of an acre. And there's a garden with fruits and vegetables, and they're all dying. And we go to the front door, and the windows are all broken, the doors are cracked, there's nobody there. So we go to the back door and we knock, and the windows are broken, the door is cracked. And then two women answer the door. And I'm telling you, they could have been Go-Go sisters. Because these women, you want to talk about it, and their name, the first one's name was Helen, and the second one's name is Loveless. Loveless worked at Love More. I was struck by the paradox. And so they let us in the back door. And they said to the boys, boys, we have some guests here we want you to meet. And they brought us in this room, and there was these 12 boys on the floor doing their homework. And we had two soccer balls in the bags. And they said, we want you to meet these two friends that have come in, and we would like you to introduce yourself to them. And so one at a time, they began to stand up. And with just great presence and great respect, they would each take turns and stand up. They were between the ages of 7 and 16. And they stood up, the first one stood up and said, I am Trust. That's his name, Trust. And he began to tell a little bit about himself. And the next one stood up and said, I am Talent. The next one, I am Peace. I am Truth. And as they introduced themselves, I couldn't help but think the life that they have been through. In Zimbabwe, almost 40% of all people have AIDS. 40%. It's like 38, I think, is the number they say. Some of these children lost their mother and father and uncles and aunts to AIDS, and they were left alone with nothing in the streets. And there are big fires that happen in villages that leave children alone. These children had nowhere to go, but they found a place called Love More. A house called Love More, but they were welcomed in. But it's more than a physical place in Africa. It's a state of mind. It's a consciousness, a place of heart that we're all going to. And so then they said, okay, they have a gift for us. And all the kids went, oh, what? They have a gift for us. And so CJ and I reached into the bags and pulled out the soccer ball. And it was pandemonia. All of a sudden, the kids are going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, doing the thank you dance, thank you, thank you. And then Loveless said, you want to quit doing homework and go play soccer? Ah! Gratitude exploding. And so the boys ran out with CJ, and CJ instantly became one of the boys of Lovemore. I mean, one of the brothers. And then there I was with Helen and Loveless, and I asked them, I said, show me around Lovemore. So they took me to the dining room, and there's this big table where they have wooden bowls where they eat with their hands the same food every day. It's called sadza, with their hands. And then they took me outside, and the boys are playing soccer. It's just a full-on, just all-out joy fest. And they show me around, and I point to the garden. And I say, well, what's with the garden? They said, the boys planted every seed themselves with their bare hands. And I said, but why is everything dying? And she said, well, do you see that hole in the ground over here? I said, yeah. They said, 2 weeks ago, somebody stole our pump out of the ground. And I was like, what? Who would steal a pump from this place, from these children? See, this is not only water for their garden, it's water for them to drink. It's water for them to cleanse with. The water in Harare comes and goes, the city water. Some days you don't have any, and it's not really the cleanest water in the world either. And so having a pump is life, especially when you've got 12 boys you're trying to raise. And so for a couple of weeks they hadn't had a pump. The vegetables and the fruits are dying, and they tell me, I say, who in the world would do this? And they go, well, we think we know who did it. It's like, what? They said, yeah, see the military base right down there? We're pretty sure the military just came over, they do this type of thing, took chains around it, ripped it out with the Jeep. And about a half an hour later, we had to leave. I had to tear CJ away from these boys. And we hugged him up and loved him up and hugged Helen and Loveless, who has more love than you could ever imagine. Oh, the paradox. We got into the cab and we drove away. And as we were pulling out, my son CJ looked at me and he said, Dad, do you think maybe we could go back to Lovemore? I said, maybe, I don't know, maybe. But of course, we're all going back to Lovemore, aren't we? Return to love. Return, it's always where we're going. Because it's a state of consciousness that oozes from the walls and the cracked windows and these two women. But it's a state of consciousness, it's a way of being, it's where we're heading. That was a long cab ride home because I was troubled. I was how can this be going on? This can't be going on. So I got back to St. Anne's and I came to Go. And she saw me and said, what happened? How did you go? I said, oh, you were right. I can't believe how much joy and love could come from spreading a soccer ball given in love. It was just unbelievable. And then I said, and Go, you won't believe what's happening. They have a garden over there, but the pump was stolen. And they showed us an estimate. I said to Loveless and Helen, I said, well, have you checked in to see what it would cost? And she said, yeah, we had people look at it, and it was $1,500 US, which is a fortune in Zimbabwe. And so I told her, and guess what? I told Gogo, I said, I don't know what to do. And Gogo said, I know a friend who fixes pumps. I'll call him. So she got on the phone. This is all happening because of a soccer ball. There is no small act of love. There is no small act of love. Once you get it rolling, it's like a snowball. So she picks up, she calls and says to her friend, go to a place called Lovemore, see what it would cost, do an estimate, please check it out. Meanwhile, Heather and I go into our room and we gather all the money we have. All of it. In Zimbabwe, you can't use credit cards. There's no credit cards. So Heather and I go into our room, and when you go to something like Zimbabwe, you have to have just in case money. You have to bring it in case you get hurt, in case something happens. The only way to get out is money. There's nothing else you can do. So we had about $1,000. That's it. It was approximately 1,000, I think, if my memory serves. And we decided that we could get away with $200. If nothing went wrong, if we got out and nobody got hurt and everything went fine, $200 would get us enough food and get us the cab rides we need and all that to survive for the next few days we were there. So we had $800 in just in case money. Well, meanwhile, a couple days later, I was saying to Heather, you have to see that, you have to experience this, you have to see it. And so we filled up 2 suitcases full of clothes and 2 big boxes of power bars, and we went back to Lovemore. And we went through the back door again, and Helen and Loveless, the children again, are working on their homework, and they see CJ, and they just, CJ's back, CJ's back, CJ's back, and there's that guy, CJ's back, CJ, and there's that guy. They're doing the CJ dance. I mean, overwhelmed. And then we bring in these suitcases, and Helen and Loveless are like, and they brought some gifts for you. And CJ had actually thought about every boy and tried to pick out clothes that would fit the boys before we left. He tried to imagine their size. Oh, I didn't mention they were all barefoot, did I? I didn't tell you that. They didn't have shoes. And so CJ was, before we left, he tried to think about all the boys and the size they might wear and the clothes and the shoes and put them in the suitcases. And first we gave them the power bars. And they each got 2. And you've never seen power eating like this before in your life. They were just like, what is this? Oh! And one boy said to Helen, can we eat them now? Yes, you can. He just went, zzz, zzz. Next. It was like, wahoo! So then once that was over, we opened up the suitcases, and CJ and the kids were, oh, and CJ started matching, giving the boys and fitting them. It's like, it was like this mini little moment of Nordstrom or something. He's fitting all their feet and getting their shoes on and all that stuff. And it's just this party, and we gave them bubbles to blow. They're all blowing bubbles. And then we go through 11 of the boys, and the 12th one is left, and it was Talent. Talent, I believe, was 16. He was the biggest. And we didn't have shoes that fit. And CJ's like looking through both suitcases, he wouldn't stop. He's just going through. No, there's got to be shoes for Talent. There's got to be. I know I'm sure there is. Finally, I said, CJ, buddy, there's not shoes in there. They're not going to appear like loaves and fishes. They're just not. I'm sorry. And I said, Talent, I'm sorry, but we don't have any shoes for you. I'm really sorry. And CJ gets down on his knees, and he starts holding his face in his hands. So hurt that he couldn't give shoes to Talent. And so Heather and I go over, and we start talking to Loveless and Helen, and we're telling them we're doing everything we can for a pump, everything we possibly can. And then I see CJ and Talent walk down the hall of Lovemore. And 2 minutes later, they come back in, and CJ's got this big grin on his face, and so does Talent. CJ's barefoot, Talent's got his shoes on. And Helen and Loveless were like, oh my God, your son is so sweet. He's so sweet. We just love that boy. And I said to Helen and Loveless, I said, he just better keep his shirt on. So then I did. I swear to God I said that. I think you even heard me say it. They went outside and played hide and go seek. 10 minutes later they came back and CJ didn't have a shirt on. And I go, where's your shirt? He goes, I gave it to that kid. He didn't have a shirt. So now he has no shirts and no shoes. Now the next thing that happened, all of a sudden, Heather and I and Helen and Loveless are bombarded by 13 boys begging us to allow CJ to stay at Lovemore. And so we had to let CJ stay. Well, that night and that day, Heather and I, of course, all we could think about was CJ. How's he doing? What the heck's going on? Oh my goodness, what's going on? And the next day, I couldn't even pick him up till after 12 o'clock, and Heather was out looking for a school for a boy named Blessing. And so I went by myself in a cab, and we got lost, of course, on the way there. Like, don't get lost, but to get my son. And we pulled up again, and when I went inside to Lovemore, my son CJ was not exactly happy to see me. He had fallen so in love. And you have to really comprehend what's happening here. You couldn't have more opposite worlds, more opposite situations. These kids don't have parents. These kids were taken off the street. They live in a house where the walls are cracked and the windows are cracked, and they eat salsa every day with their hands. But they had love. But they had love. Do you need anything else? Love was just oozing from those women and from the broken windows and the walls, and he had everything he needed because of the love. He has a mother and father who will love him forever and do everything we can for him, and these children don't have a mother and father. And he has 12 different kinds of cereal in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Skim milk, 1% and 2%. These kids have salsa every day. Boom. And yet, he felt the love. What a transformation that's waiting for all of us. And so, we said goodbye. And it broke my heart every time. And we got in the car. And that was the day before we left. And CJ, as we were driving away, said, Dad, do you think someday we could go back to love? I said, I don't know. But maybe that's where we're all going. All of us. And so we got back to St. Anne's, and it was the next day was the last day we were there. Heather and I came to Go-Go, and we said, what's happening? What have you found out from your friend who went to Lovemore? She said, he went to Lovemore and he loved it. And he met the children and he loved the children. And so he's decided to donate all of his time to putting in the pump. And he has some pipes that they need. He's going to donate the pipes. So he said he could do it for $800. So we took the envelope and we blessed it with Go-Go. And Go-Go, all she could say was, God bless you. 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 Even then, it was still an act of faith. You know, it's like, okay, how is this going to really happen? If that money got in the wrong hands, if the government got involved in any way, shape, or form, say goodbye. And we got home, and about a month later, we got a letter. Dearest friends, greetings from Lovemore. God brought us together for a very short time, but it's like we have known you forever. How are you, Heather and Mary, and your very special son, CJ? We miss you so very much. So much has happened since you left. We have managed to acquire 50 small chicks to raise for us. 2 boys, Quentin and Trust, graduated to secondary school. Stephen and Secret are doing formal now and have 2 more years until they enter high school. And the rest of the boys are doing well. But most of all, water for the fruits and vegetables so that the boys can drink and shower, so they can be healthy, so they can go to school. This is a miracle. It started with a ball. There's no small act of love. So they can be healthy, so they can go to school. Some of the boys are going to college now. To college. Kids that were found in the street without a mother or a father. And it all started by following the bouncing ball. There's no small act of love. The bouncing ball that started with the love and the generosity of Jeannie Garst and this community, which made me hold it in my hands and and say, what can I do? Which brought me to Go-Go, who sent me to Lovemore, which brought my son to take the shirt off his back and the shoes off of his feet, which led Heather and I to do everything we could to get a pump for these children so they could eat, drink, and be healthy and go to high school and graduate and then go out into the world. Do you think these kids are going to ever forget that the day the crazy guy and that boy came with the soccer ball? And the day that pump arrived in their yard? And that they're going to go out into the world now and spread more love? It all started with a soccer ball. There's no small act of love. Follow the bouncing ball. And don't forget Go-Go. I don't work for you. I work for God. And everything is good, 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 and I am happy, happy, happy. That is what is waiting for each and every one of us. For all of us. Don't forget Go-Go. So let's go. Because now we know what love is.